All right, we are back. Thank you for staying with us. Always a joy to have your company. If you're just joining, this is the first conversation of the day, and we're talking about politics. And our particular focus is politics or power plays. That is what we're looking into, and much more. So it could go whichever way. So you just stick with us, you just follow, and then you can also chime in on the conversation at Y254 channel. The hashtag is Y in the morning. For this particular discussion, I've been joined by two amazing people, and I will start with a lady because it's ladies first. She is Shallet Kibe, the founder of Big Talk, and then right next to her is Anthony Musyoki, who's an aspiring MP Yata constituency. Karibuni sana. Awesome. So let me start with you, Charlotte, just to tell us more about yourself and about your company, Big Talk.
Yeah. So as you heard, my name is Shallet Kibe. First of all, I love the Lord, and Christ is my Lord and Savior.
Ooh.
And number two is I do run an organization called the Big Talk, which is a civic education movement that seeks to educate, create awareness, and simplify the socio-political and economic things that we have in the country. So that's just what we do. I love. I don't know if you guys have realized any bills that come from the Senate or Parliament have too many legalist terms. The normal Wananchi can't be able to process that. Even other than being a young person, but even the old person can't. My own grandmother back in Eldoret can't be able to grasp what those policies are. So what does a Big Talk do? They come in between and they say, hey, not on our watch will we allow you to remain uninformed.
Okay.
So that's just what we do. Simplification. Atuna maneno mo, just simplify.
Okay.
Yeah, for the normal Wananchi to understand the policies very easily.
Okay. What avenues do you use to simplify this and to
All
make sure that...
social media platforms, Instagram, TikTok, X, all of them. If you search Big Talk, you shall find us. If you search me, Charlotte Kutment, which is my other name as well, you shall find us. Yeah.
Okay, great. Amazing stuff. And, you know, I'm curious to almost start an interview with you. Just how did you start it and all that? But we'll come back to that maybe later. To you, Anthony, you are inspiring MP. What is your motivation for you? You know, why have you chosen to now stand as an MP in the coming election?
Yes, first of all, allow me to thank you for having me here. Yeah, as I said, my name is Anthony Musyoki from the Yata constituency. Yes, and I will be vying to become the next MP. So the thing that really pushes me to become the next member of parliament is the fact that I have seen young people finish school and then they lack jobs, and then the next thing that happens that they become people who is like they're not valued in this country. So therefore, I'm engaged to know that as time goes on, I'm willing to participate in national policy of national interest.
Okay.
And therefore, that's one thing that pushes me, because we realize that as much as we know very well that in this country, the majority are young people. Yet, it is very true that the minority in leadership are still the young people. So it is still becomes something that we don't understand. So for the very first time, I'm taking a step ahead to take the interests of the young people in national table and to ensure that they are catered.
Come on.
Okay, that is profound, very good of you to do that.
Yeah.
Because as you've said, the majority are young people, yet they're the minority
in terms of leadership. Yes.
So we need to balance that.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you for coming, both of you. Just to get into this particular topic, politics or power play.
Yeah.
What comes into your mind? Let me start with you, Charlotte. Just the topic, politics or power play.
I think politics around the world, of course, has various aspects and different opinions and different conversations around it. But if you look at most African nations, or Kenya specifically, since colonial, pre-colonial, people have been preconditioned to think a certain way about politics, meaning in the sense of when you think of politics or power, let's say when I grew up, is that when you see politicians, you know, as soon as my friend here gets into Parliament 2027, the first thing he has to do is buy a guzzler. A V8, and that's a definition of a big guy in politics, right?
Yeah.
We knew politicians have to be murderers. We knew politicians had to be thieves. But now the concept is changing, that people want actually accountability and leadership that is respectful and servant leadership, which comes from Christ, which is servant leadership.
Okay.
So the one that we are changing, and even my friend here, Anthony, who is saying that he's vying, I hope that when you're going there, you're not shifted by the politics that we have seen in Africa and Kenya as well, but you're shifted to actually bring change to watu wako.
Thank you for that, Shallet. And just as a disclaimer, all of you shared individual views, you know, not of the station. To you, Anthony, on the same question still, do you think that politics is inherently power plays? You know, someone gets into, you know, into leadership and they assume they have power. You know, power belongs to them. You know, they change automatically. They want the big things, as she said, the V8, they want to be acknowledged, they want the sirens, they want the what. You know, is it inherently a power play?
First of all, allow me to define power play. On my own understanding is that, you know, politics in this country, we understand how things have been happening.
Yeah.
We have read history. We know since independence how politics of this country work. So you realize that for the longest time in this country, we have had people, you know, politics becomes inherited. I mean, the Hellites, the politicians, they just recycle. They call it a system, whereby someone comes in and then you have to do according to what the system dictates you to do. So that's why you see many politicians, once they are elected, they are good people, but once they are elected, they stick to the holy behaviors of politicians. And realize that in our country, for the longest time, we have been people having politicians driving our voters. So therefore, when they get to these positions, they feel like they don't owe the common mwananchi anything rather than doing according to what they think. So once politicians buy power is what really changes everything. So therefore, my concern is that we need to shift from politics of tokenism, where they give small thing, then they bribe people, especially young people. We all know that young people are being used. They have been used for the longest time. They are given some small money. They participate in election. They are used in campaigning. But once these politicians, they get there, they use that money to buy themselves whatever they want. So they feel like they owe these people nothing. So therefore, that's why we are advocating. That's why we are coming out as young people. We want to redefine leadership. Not only ascension in power, but service to common mwananchi.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So as you've said that, rightfully, people have been used to give handouts, and you know, after the leaders elected, they feel like they bought themselves power and they don't really owe them the people anything.
Yes.
Now, as a young person who's aspiring to be an MP in Niata, how do you intend to go about even the campaigning? Because people are also used to the handouts. You know, if you don't give them, then they elect someone else. So how do you intend to balance it?
Yes, as I said, like right now, latest, majority of Kenyans have gone to school and they have known reasons why we need to vote. So therefore, I think we can't also neglect the fact that the poverty is one that making people to receive these adults. But what I can tell them is that we need a new energy. We need new ideas. We need to work on ideologies, because the moment you look at a person and then, you know, they receive their handouts, you realize that you will owe them nothing. That's my stand. But once you clearly vote on ideologies, because that's what I've been mobilizing young people to do. Let's vote on someone who considers ideologies, but not someone on personal development or on personality of someone. So they can give out the handouts, but we are standing very clearly that we need people to understand that why vote for me? That's the reason. And I'm glad that young people have gone to school and they are able to understand why we need to vote in young leaders.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Shallet, do you think the same? Do you share the same view that
Yeah.
people are now educated enough and they will not take handouts?
Yeah.
I say.
I just want to clarify, first of all, the youth in this country are approximately, I think, 35 million, so 75% of our population. But 44% of those 36 million, so that approximately means 4.3 million, are living in abject poverty, below the poverty line. So of course it's very easy for you to come and tell me, vote for me and I'll give you this cash, because it's easy money. But even as Anthony has said, I think Kenya has already and is progressing quite well in more people actually wanting for a better Kenya. Of course, kuna wale watu wengine watasema no, Kenya will never change, Kenya has no solution, then wacha tu tukule pesa yetu na tuweke hapo continuously. But I believe if those 44%, so that's like 4.4 million of young Kenyans are living in abject poverty, below the dollar line, below the poverty line, below the line that United Nations actually categorizes as the poverty line, is actually sometimes scary. Because how are you going to tell someone who is scrambling to get food at the end of the day that if you vote for me I'll bring change? And previously you have seen mtu amekuja amwambia the same thing and hawana barabara, or they don't even have a street light. How are they going to believe you? So that's a change that even for me as a Christian who comes in, because if all our leaders have nothing to fear, then they will continue to steal. If our leadership in this country is not submitted under God and fear him, I promise you there will never be any other solution, ever. Because there is no fear anywhere.
Okay. So your take on this is that they should be subjected to God first.
Absolutely.
Before they're given this leadership position.
I'm saying there is no solution other than Jesus Christ over this nation.
Okay.
No solution at all.
Right. And how do you see it so far?
I believe, I don't know, for you, let me explain as a Christian, is that when the Lord changes your heart, he gives you something else to replace that with. So if, for me, it's so natural for a human being, I can murder you so easily by mistake, out of anger, right? Steph unaweza nisumbua tu sahi, unajua nikugonge na kitu, and nimekugonga, I'm like, oh my gosh, did I just, right? Yeah. But because when my heart is turned into something new, the Lord tells us that he will give you a new heart, like your flesh itakuwa kitu ingine. That means from stone to flesh. So you're fearing him. So when I fear him, I fear that I will actually want to bring change to my constituents, because I am accountable to one person, and that person is the Lord Jesus Christ, the Lord in heaven. So I will fear. I will fear definitely. And not sile fear, oh my God, it's the reverence of, I have this God that I am accountable to. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
I get you. So, but how now will people be able to tell that this for sure is, because if you look at the previous elections, people voted because of,
I like that.
Religion and Christianity, and this is a man of God, and will be led. And people felt that the church betrayed them to an extent because the church sort of aligned with a particular, political party. So, is someone really able to tell? Because I can come and say, I am saved of the Lord. I will serve diligently. I will build churches. I will
of course.
do what.
I can tell you all the good
words. I can tell you everything that you want to hear. Because I know that is what you want. So I will just come and tell you what you want to hear. But are you really able to tell through that?
Yeah. So what Christ has told us is, you will know them by their fruit, not fruits, but the fruit. Now, if I come and tell you, Stephanie, that I'll bring all those nice things, right? And my examples and what I am bringing out is not a reflection of what I'm saying. Are you going to believe me or not? If my past I was a thief, if my past I was a murderer, if I did all of those things, how are you going to believe me? That's why I'm saying, Kenya is 85% Christian, just by statement. But we are not living out 85% of that.
All right.
Get what I'm saying? And the church is not a building, guys. It's not a institution. The church are the people. So if actually those 85% of Christians say, no, not on our watch, we are going to allow this to happen in our country, then there will be so much change in this nation. But other than that, I will continue to stand on my big guzzler and lie to the people, and people will still believe me, because guess what? Power equals politics.
Okay.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense when you put it that way, because your previous records tells a lot of who you are, in addition to the other things that we're looking for. Now to you, Anthony, she has rightfully said that the records should at least influence the decision of the voters. For you as a young person, it's, you know, if you're a young person, you might not have an advantage because you've not been in politics, but what is it that you would say you have done, and maybe even other aspirants can emulate even as they look into getting into politics?
Yes, first I want to second what she has said. You know, as we are voting in leaders, of course, you know, anyone can lie.
Of course.
That's true. Anyone. And, you know, so the thing is that we need to vote leaders passed on their, you know, I mean, we need to vote leaders on their record. Yeah, not just voting because someone has just come, he pretends to be a Christian, he pretends that he can improve on something. So for me, I've done so many things, including we have an organization back in our home where we help young people, you know, to grow. For example, we have been championing for rights of young people in our village. You know, because of this lack of jobs, people have been not able to earn living in a decent way.
Yeah.
So you find that many people are, you know, they hoped to ways that contribute to their living, which are, you know, which are unlawful. So therefore, I have been championing their rights. I have been telling the local government, starting with the chief, the DO, the MCA, and even the current MP. I've been advocating and telling him that let us create jobs for these young people, and leading whatever I afford. I'm able to organize something for them. I give them, you know, at least they do something. Yeah. Not that alone. I like the way she said, we are a Christian nation. So I've been leading by an example as a young leader who acknowledges God, and therefore I've been mobilizing young people throughout my, not only in the constituency, but also in the entire Machakos County, to ensure that we rally behind something that in future we'll say that, okay, this is where we need our country to be. Yeah. So as much as we need to, and you know, these people, most of them, when you don't get what you want many times, people turn away from God. So for us to get even to explain to them that why we need young people in leadership, first you must bring them to God. Yeah. And that's one thing that I've been doing. I've been telling them, first let us acknowledge God. How we acknowledge God, and therefore from there I see how to, you know, to navigate around and help them in civic education.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, for what I've had and the discussions that I've had here, some people say that in as much as Gen Zs say, you know, the revolution that has been around, that we want young people to take leadership positions, just as you both have agreed here as well. In as much as that is being said, some people are of the idea that young people are not dependable. You know, they will go there and they will serve their selfish interests as well. So what makes a young person look dependable, or how can young people also look into a young person and say, this one will actually serve our needs, you know? Because someone told me, in as much as we are bashing the older generation, they've actually been there and they know it better. So how do we create a balance, and how do we change that?
I think first I want to clarify that not every politician is evil. Right? Not every politician has done a bad thing. They're actually so good ones, but we just can't see them because, of course, bad news sells the most. Right? If someone has stolen 500 million, that will be on the cover pages of everywhere, right? But when they're actually amazing leaders in this country, but just the attention doesn't go to them as much. But people are working secretly in their counties, in their constituencies, in their wards. They're actually amazing leaders who have done great things. Now, to speak among the Gen Z, because I am one, and I believe Anthony as well, it's just the fact that it's true. They did something in this country that has not been done, I think, since 1992 during Raila's time, or even, you know, before even colonial times when people are fighting for independence for this country. And we appreciate that young people have decided to take it in their hands to say that no longer we shall allow that to happen. But we also have to understand that so many people have taken advantage of the movement because money has been poured in very different aspects. There's an organization that will pour, there's the opposition, there's so many people who will pour out money to disrupt something or something to be allowed to. And that's where now everyone comes in. Because let me tell you, if I come to you, Stephanie, and I offer you 5 million, wewe labda hujaiona hata 10,000.
Why should I refuse that offer?
Why would you refuse? Right? We get a movement, another person does that. And so when we say even it's been infiltrated, it has been infiltrated one way or another, because now power, as you said, politics, power, it has changed how people move. But I believe there are still more young people who want change for this nation, regardless, or I mean, there's people who still stand in integrity. And as for me, as Shallet, my integrity comes from a revelation of Christ who guides me. I have been offered money over and over. Hata sijaiona mimi mwenyewe. Nilishtuka,
You refuse.
Kuna pesa kama hiyo? You know? And because of who I stand on and what my belief system is in, that's why I'm saying when people have a ground on something, when people actually have a ground on Christ, when people have a ground on Jesus, when people have a ground on God, it is hard for you to be swayed so easily. If I'm being offered 50 million to my integrity, then that's what says about me. But we can't really... how should I say this? I can't really pinpoint to people even who have joined government or anti-government because they decided to choose so. And they went, sawa, that happened. Then let's continue on with the rest, right? Because our hope is not in them, our hope is in Christ. Yeah, so yeah, I don't want to talk a lot because I'll start preaching.
Yeah, and you're very passionate about that particular area.
Yeah, so.
Makes a lot of sense. What is your view on that, Anthony, especially that you're a young leader?
Okay, my view is that in politics, as I said when we were beginning, politics has been recycling leaders.
Of course.
So you can imagine, not just to quote, like the likes of Raila, name them, Musalia, and so many of them, you realize that all these politicians, they have a root. They have an origin where you'll find that it's like they have made our political system in this country to be like a succession. You know, you inherit from someone. And that's why young people have come out to say that we appreciate what they have done.
Yeah.
We really appreciate and we really support what they have done. But it's a high time that we do away with this politics of inheritance. It's a high time we need to elect people on the basis of what they can do. Not because you come from a certain family, not because you know someone and someone. Yeah, and that's why we are stepping in our own as young people and saying that, okay, we have had enough. We have had challenges, you know, and we realize that some of these people, most of them, who only benefit is only that if you come from their lineage. Otherwise, you'll find that, like we had a scenario, I think last year, where we had a politician attending an event in one of the villages, and then there's a school in that village that learners, they learn from the under tree. So you can imagine, politician comes and tours with a chopper, then there are learners who can't afford a classroom. Then we imagine all these people are the same.
Yeah.
So we need to create a new system. Yes? We need to create a new, we need to elect leaders based on what they can do, not from where they come from. So once we terminate this lineage or succession politics, then we will have a new change for our country. And that's why we are saying that let young leaders step in. And you saw what happened in Parliament, whereby I saw what members were saying. They were saying that once the president had accused them of corruption, they were saying that you brought a bill here, we passed it for you. So you can imagine these people, they are no longer do according to the will of the people. Yes? They are doing according to the will of the executive.
Okay.
That's why we are saying that we need as many Gen Z leaders. We need as many young leaders as possible in the Parliament, so that once they are there, they are able to make an independent decision.
Okay.
Yes, that's my stand.
Based on what you've just said,
Yeah.
you know, you've pointed out what the president, how he addressed the MPs, and they were mad for a while.
Yeah, sure.
You know, catch my feelings and all that. You know, and what you've said on them saying tulipitisha bills and all that, do you think there is autonomy in leadership? I don't know how to put it better, but are they leaders of the people, or are they driven by the political ideology? Are they independent as leaders, in as much as I am in this political party, so I have to do what the party wants me to do, you know? Or can they say, no, this is, you know, what is your view on that?
No, they are not independent, and that's my stand. And it is very clear, everyone is able to see that, you know, once you are elected as a member of parliament, or a senator, or a governor, or a president, first thing is to represent the will of the people. You don't, apart from representing the will of the party, what comes first is the people that you lead. So, for example, we had a conversation, we said that, no, we don't want this finance bill. That's our stance as the people of Kenya. So, but they went ahead to do so. They went ahead to pass the finance bill. What does that tell you about those leaders? They don't listen to the people who elected them. Yes? So they don't do it according to the will of the people, but they do it according to the will of the executive. So that's why, you know, once we are very, honestly, we are very mad at them, because we cannot afford to have leaders who cannot represent the interests of the common mwananchi.
Okay.
Yeah, you had, you know, there are passed a bill that they have increased the tax rates to common commodities. So you can imagine, those people are the ones who are supposed to be, you know, advocating for the rights of these people. Yet they are, you know, they are engaging with the executive, who means that the common mwananchi. It is very, very unfortunate. So they don't serve the will of the people, as we talk for now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as per now, according to you, they are not serving the will of the people. They are
Yes.
more into the party.
Yes.
And Shallet, if you agree with this, I don't know if you agree. If you do agree, then what can be done about it? Because it would mean that anyone who is elected, whether they have a good, you know, agenda, they will still be, their hands will still be tied to, I have to cooperate. I have to, and we know there are some positions that, of course, are not really, when you are a nominated leader,
Of course,
then you are the mercy of the party. And we saw what happened to Senator Gloria. You know, Oroba. She can do nothing about it. Even with the court order, still she cannot go back, which is something else, you know, looking at our judicial system. But now, what do you think should be done? Because now this is systemic things, this system. How do you go in?
I think, first of all, what most people don't understand, and especially the political class who have gotten used to what they have been getting used to in this country, is that the movement of last year, which is just not minimalized to a generation like Gen Z, but Gen Z is mostly of a mindset and a movement as well, is the fact that the movement challenged a status quo, as he was saying, right? A status quo of mimi najua ule na ule na ule na ule na ule, ama mimi nilizaliwa hapa na hapa na hapa. Then they have challenged, and it just came like pop. So that was scary, first of all, because if I'm a politician and have gained this, you know, tender and whatnot, unaniharibia kazi bana, right? And you have destroyed my status. You destroyed it immediately. And that's not really understanding in most people who have been in power for years, because how do you as a young person just come to something that I have created all these years, right? I have made it into where I want it, and now you're coming to tell me that you want change. Which change, right? And as you said, being, of course, nominated by a party, of course your allegiance is to that party and what that party believes in. That's true. I believe there's nothing really much you can talk about it, because those party has rules and you have to be allegiance to it one way or another. But mine is specifically to the elected leaders. Watu wameenda wakakuvotia, literally. Wakapanga line, 3 a.m. kupanga line. I promise you, ole wako if you're continuing to steal funds for this country. I come from Rift Valley, and there are some counties that here, sina hata words for it. I honestly don't have words, because the amount of stealing and no fear or reverence of anything at all is quite saddening. Like, sometimes you can cry. You go to hospitals, you're told there's no syringes, there's no gloves. 21st century.
It's sad.
Yeah, it's not even funny anymore. It's sad. It's just like, what are you doing, right? And I'm telling any leader who's watching this and who might be watching this, I promise you, ole wako, because God actually has called leaders to a higher standard. If Anton here is going to 27, God is calling him to a higher standard, because kuna watu hapo anawaangalilia. So sometimes it's quite shameful, and that also means to us as Kenyans as well, because we can't just be blaming bad leadership, and we are also the same ones who actually vote these people into power. We throw litter on the road, tunajaza pathways, tunataka kupeana bribe. I mean, we can't say we want accountability when sisi wenyewe themselves cannot be able to be held into that standard.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair enough. Now, following up on that, the young people, if I can remember well, I do remember well actually. You know, over the revolution that was happening, there was a lot of blame, and it mostly went to the national government. You know, and that's why there was the threat to go to State House and, you know, occupy and all that that was going on. But have young people understood? Do you think that young people and Kenyans generally, only I'm mentioning young people because, you know, 75%, that's the majority, but have people understood how the devolved government works, so, such that this school is not doing well, so the president is not working. This hospital is, so the president is not working. Do you think that we have understood the devolved government? Do we need better education? And I know, Shallet, you can answer well to this because that is what you do. But let me start with you.
Yes, I think it's quite important for everyone to understand that we need civic education as much as we can. Yeah, we need to get to the grassroots level and educate all these people, not only the young people, but all of us as a country. We need to understand what works and what does not work. What an MP is supposed to do, what an a governor is supposed to do, what an MCA, and what other leaders in the country. So we need to do a lot of civic education. We need to engage all of Kenyans, not young people alone, but all of us, because it is reality that not only young people vote, but all people do vote, be it young, be it the old. So as much as we need, we can use those who already have this knowledge, because like, let's say talk of constitution is learnt in school. So you realize that it's only that we need to polish, not that they don't know, they know, but we need to remind them. We need to keep reminding them, because once you are not reminded, you can easily forget. So we need to remind them, we need to use them to target, to be able to target all the population, because we realize that if we give out, we cannot afford, or we are not able to, at least to reach everyone. So we can use those who already have the civic education to ensure that they reach all the people in the country. And by the time we are voting, I think we'll be in a better chance as a country to understand why are we voting and who are we voting for. Are we voting for person? Are we voting for ideology, or we are voting for what? Okay. Yeah, that's my stand.
All right, great. Great explanation.
Yeah.
That's you, Shallet.
I think, actually, I don't think, I believe that civic education has to be done from all parts, right? And as I said, what sells is bad news. Now, if I put a number to Shallet, I mean, kuna pesa imeibiwa. Of course, and if I'm the leader of this country and there's a narrative towards that, of course, they'll all believe or blame one particular leader. But I believe Kenyans should actually go back. If you see an article, ukiona news, can you just sit down and research that and say, hii si kazi ya huyu, hii ni kazi ya gavana wangu, hii ni ya kazi ya MP that who I actually elected, hii ndio kazi yake, hii ni kazi ya my MCA. I mean, there are usually some devolution classes. I hope if the government can be able to provide that among counties to actually educate people that this is a role for a governor, this is a role for this and this and this. Because actually, some of those roles are not for particular post, right? I cannot say that, you know, let's say this minister has not done this job, but let's say funds are already disbursed, right? I'm not defending the government in whatever way, but I'm just saying we have to be accountable with ourselves as well.
Exactly.
In those areas.
Exactly, and I remember there's a guest that was telling me just on the same area that funds were disbursed to all the women reps full. So like you need to know, where did the funds for the women go? Where did the funds for the youth go? Because this are under the docket of the women rep, so that you know they're accountable enough. Best I put it, because it's millions, and you need to they need to have done initiatives that are boosting, empowering the women and the youth in the counties. So that's quite something, and a lot should be done to just ensure that people are educated. Now, we have talked about money having been an influence in how we previously elected our leaders, right? What is the what place are we in when we look at ethnicity? Because again, that has been one of the ills that we've had as a nation. We elect this person because he is a leader, and we think because if he's from our tribe, he will bring change. You know, it's like we'll all now be employed. He'll be our leader, not just the Kenyans. And we've had that idea for a while. You know, the older generation, or the people who have been voting, you know, have had that for a while, and it's been based on ethnicity. What are you aligning to? Which regions are we supporting? Luos, and who supporting this one, this one, and this one, Kikuyus, and who supporting this one? Are we still in the same area? Let me start with you.
Honestly, as a Hispano, I cannot run away from the, you know, so-called tribalism or ethnicity. You know, many people vote according to their, you know, many votes go to according to the tribe where you come from. So you realize that that's what has been done previously. But I think since 2024, we have been having a new perspective on now why should we vote on the basis of a tribe? Why should we vote on the basis of this person comes from this family, or, you know, from this particular tribe? So we are coming out very clearly as Gen Z, and that's why we say that we are tribeless. Tribeless means that someone, you don't vote for someone because, you know, they come from your tribe or from your family, or maybe this issue of party. You know, when you realign yourself with a party, you realize that you have to do according to their interests. So before even we go to those issues, we need to come. We have said very clearly that we need people to vote according to person, and I mean ideology of that person, not according to the tribe of that person. So my perspective, and I believe all young people, we share the same vision that we should no longer voice our issues basing on tribal lines. We need to come out very clearly. Why vote for this person? What is he bringing? Like me, I intend to bring, you know, quality education, clean water, and all those things. So not exactly where I come from, not exactly who I support, but vote for me according to my ideology and what do we align our interests. Because you realize that all these people, when it comes to tribalism, tribal is about interest. People take interest, as you know, as all of us know. So I want us to come out from that corner of thinking that we need to vote for this person because of certain he aligns with our tribe. No, we need to vote for him because of what we think he can do, or she can do.
All right. Great response. I'd like to hear from you as well, Shallet.
Because sometimes I wish the Lord would have just made us to ongea lugha mbili, Kiswahili and English, and that's it. Because we have missed so much in this country just because on the basis of Anthony atoki tribe yangu na mimi sitoki tribe yake, which is such a stupid concept. Because if you come to understand, I mean, Tanzania here, our neighbors have 80 plus tribes. Congo on the other side has 120. And Tanzania have an ideology, their country, which is Ujamaa. That's why they don't talk about these issues. If you go to Rwanda, right, Kigali specifically, they have a code. You can never talk about tribalism. Ati I'm Hutu, I'm Tutsi. That is impossible. Because they know where they came from in 1994. And they know they will never want to come back again. But for us, we entertain this, not even in our leadership space, but the leaders take advantage because they realize back in our homes and back in our communities, mi naongelea tribe ya Anthony vibaya, mi naongelea tribe ya Stephanie vibaya. So if I'm starting it in my home and in my community and in my village, the higher person who is vying, mbona asitumie hiyo? Why wouldn't he use that same narrative? So this is a call to us even as Kenyans. Why are we still speaking ill of the other tribe? Why?
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll just leave it at that.
So
yeah,
absolutely. So it starts with us.
Absolutely.
The problem is with
absolutely.
us. So it's how you speak when you're with your grandmother.
Absolutely.
About the other tribe.
Yes, and correct them sometimes.
And correct them when they speak
and
about
no,
these
no,
things.
No, we can't speak like that.
We're not about that anymore. We are past that.
Yeah.
You know, we have grown, we have evolved. Now, to the other thing, because of the power plays that has been there and how politics has been, now we see that there's or there's a view that there's voter apathy, or there has been.
Yeah.
People, the lack of interest in politics. Some people, even now, still say, Mimi, come the next elections, I'm just going to sleep. I'm not going to go and make a line for hours only to vote, and then the system will still choose the person it will choose. You know, there's that lack of trust in the system. Now, what would you advise? Let me start with you, Anthony.
Yes, my advice is that as young people, you know, you realize that at the end of it all, change starts with you and me. For change to take place, you must be part of that change. So it is a reality that if we don't take part in changing all these things, they will never change. We'll continue with the same song until, you know, we'll find ourselves we are no longer, you know, we are no longer in this system of, you know, like we become held, or we are hedging, right? Yeah. So I believe that we need to tell young people, let's wake up. It is a wake up call for all of us. Let us not assume, because once we assume, it is done. You realize that for us to vote again, unless we have a by-election, we'll have to have 5 years. So why can we experience 5 years of bad leadership when we can just wake up just for one day? It just takes, I think, less than 20 minutes. Yes, it takes less than 20 minutes. You vote and then you go back home. Okay. So for the very first time, I want to encourage young people, let them take a stand. Let us, all of us, wake up to do this. Because if it does not do it, then the consequences is there. Once you decide to make a decision, we need to understand there is always a consequence. So they decide to make a decision not to vote, then the consequence will be we'll experience a bad leadership until 5 years. You know, so let us get away with that mentality of there's a system, there's a vote. What matters is your vote. Once you vote, if we are 3 here and someone comes and votes for 2 of you, and then assume you have other voters, then they come and vote. It is reality that you are going to count those votes, and then the winner will of course be there. So let us get away from that mentality that votes are going to be rigged or that. We need to wake up, vote, and then we put good leadership in place. That's how the change is going to come.
Okay, so
yes.
change, as you've said, starts with us, and the decision to vote or not influences how the next 5 years after that election will be. And I love that someone who says, you know, failing to vote is actually choosing the, you know, you have already chosen without choosing. So either way, you influence the decision. So you'd rather vote and say, or at least nilijaribu, at least you tried, at least you participated.
They say that
right?
Without trying, it's better you fail through trying than never trying. You know, then failure. Afadhali ujaribu, because you realize that if you don't try, then that's the worst of it. That's a mistake.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I want to ask you a different question.
Oh, okay. So I had prepared that now.
But you can still answer to it even as you answer this one.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to ask you about, is there anything, now that we're talking about power and power plays, is power really just inherently bad? Is it just inherently corrupt, or is there something like ethical power or something around that?
Yeah. I mean, as wanasemanga money makes the world go around, right? And I believe power as well, because power also, you have to have some type of money as well to infiltrate that to have power. But I don't believe, now as a Christian, God has given leadership positions for a specific reason and for a specific moment. So leadership in itself and power in itself is not inherently evil, but if we turn it to what we get by evil, then that's a part. You know, the Bible still tells us that the love of money, pesa si mbaya, the love of money ndio ni mbaya, meaning what will you pay to get it. That means, am I going to murder Stephanie? Sorry to use your name. Am I going to kill? Am I going to steal to get that power? Then that's where the problem is. And Kenya has been in that cycle. I don't like Anthony anakuja na kierere yake uzuri, nini. I'm going to finish him out. And that's a cycle that we are trying to end, that I think young people have actually woken up, like, enough is enough, imetosha. You're not going to continue to go into that struggle anymore. You want a clean, fresh start. And as I answer, 2022 was my first time to be eligible to vote. I was so excited. Niliamka 3 a.m. 3 a.m. I was on the line. I was voting in KICC. And let me tell you, I didn't see any single young person.
Wow.
On like my age at that time. I was just like, I'm not seeing, where are the young people on this line? There are no young people. And 8 million people voted. 3 million were just the young people. And they were not there. I promise you, 2027, and if you're not there, hata sijui tukuambie nini. I don't know what you're going to tell you. You know now, politics have become fashionable. Tutakuwa tunakumark na hiyo stuff wanaekanga kwa mkono. Right?
Exactly.
If you don't have it, you're not in our friend group anymore. Or something like that.
Betrayed us.
Yeah, you're betrayed us. But I'm not saying you should vote for someone. Think, please. No, you should not be forced at it because now people are not for government. You should vote government. No, if you believe for this and you have reasons and you believe in the manifesto and the ideology, please go. Usikwe katikati. Yeah, please go. Yeah,
whatever you do.
Yeah, but vote, please. Hey.
Yeah. Whatever I agree. Whatever you do, just make sure you're voting.
Yeah.
Your vote counts. Absolutely amazing. Now to you, Anthony. Yes. We have seen corruption in our country, and it's there. Now, how can we hold leaders accountable when they misuse power? For their personal gain. They use our money for their personal gain. How can we hold them accountable, even now, when we're talking about, before we even get to the elections?
So, first of all, it's only that it's very unfortunate that we realize that money has gone to an extent that influence, it creates a lot of influence.
Yeah.
You remember that in our constitution, it provides for us what we call a recall. So if a member of parliament is not performing, or a certain leader is not performing, we can use what we call a recall method back to the constituent, to the constituency, and then we have a by-election. So if truly, our system is not that corrupt, we could have been recalling leaders. Why you ask them, why have you not done this and this? Then if they fail to provide an evidence as to why they have not been able to do such a thing, then we call for a by-election. But for the issues of corruption, I think what we can do is that, again, we go back to the people and tell them and face these leaders. Educate the people and face them. Tell them, you are given a bursary of 5,000. This is not what you're supposed to receive. Because you realize that when you give a whole grandmother maybe 5,000 for a son, in school, she may feel that, nimesaidika. But that's not the case. The money should be more than that. So we need to get back to them, educate them, and then we come back to them again and tell them this is not right. You've promised to build to have a hospital here, to build a hospital. You have not done that. Why? We need answers. Where is the money? We need to know where is the money. We need to get these facilities done. Because you realize that these leaders, once they're elected, they feel that it's no longer now a service.
Yeah.
It's like a favor they do to us. When you walk to a constituency, office, and then ask the MP, why have you not done this? Then they think that, what are you trying to ask me? Do I owe you this? No. Like, we need to confront them. We need to ask them. Like the way we did with the finance bill, we confronted them. Until, some of the members were really afraid.
Yeah.
In fact, some of them ran away from their homes. So we need to confront them. We don't need to fear leaders. They are not gods. They are only humans, privileged to serve us. So I think we need to condemn them, to condemn corruption.
Yeah.
We need to condemn it to the very best that we can. So that's my point.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Fair enough. To you, Shallet, even before we come to a close of this conversation, what reforms do you believe would help shift politics from power struggles to people-centered governance?
Okay. Great. As I stated before, it starts with us, guys. It can never start with them and then sisi to expect change out of nowhere. As Anthony has said, right, if someone is going to give me 5,000 Kenyan shillings, that is like a big thing to me, and I decide to be influenced because of that, then they will continue to use that same narrative to enable what they're continuing to enable. Now, if for us we want to keep our leaders accountable, I mean, that's why I say people I think should really learn, and that's what we as a Big Talk come through is people should really learn, how can I be able to recall my MP? How can I be able? And I think shida tupatianga ni people, you might send the name ifike hadi parliament, au watu angushe. They bring him back.
Okay.
Right? But what we are saying is, if now the people of integrity and who fear God actually get into Parliament 2027, the young people who are aspiring like Anthony, then if I can be able to recall Stephanie as my MP, then it can be easier because Anthony, who has integrity, will say, by the way, yeah, we are going to allow that.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying.
All right.
It starts with us. Every single thing starts with us one way or another. If we really want to bring change and a 360 and 180 angle into this country, is that it starts with us as the Kenyan people. What can we do? And I believe young people did that last year to show us there is a way. And I wish haingefika to a place where people have lost their lives to that extent, because people still didn't believe that people actually want real change. You know, kualau hadi ifike hapo, people had to die to that extent.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Unfortunately, which is so sad that just lives were lost like that, puff, in a blink of an eye. It's quite sad because there are homes that still have those children as parents. Me and you here cannot feel what the parents are feeling.
Exactly.
Right? So if it doesn't start with us as Kenyans, mi nikiamua nikule pesa ya Anthony jo amenipea 10,000 hivi, wewe unatuleta nyuma, hata sijui nikuambie nini. But if imagine if you all decide to say sisi wote, we no longer want to do that, what narrative, what will they use? What will they use?
We take their power.
I promise you, watakuwa nasema wa sijui tutuie nini
Hapa
sasa.
ni kunoma.
Hapa kuna shida.
Absolutely. So I'm getting that we have given them power for whatever evil, whatever ill has happening is because we have allowed it to happen. So when we decide that it's actually stopping, which I believe the young people have decided, and they want good leadership, then good leadership we will have. As a closing remark, Anthony, looking at the camera, do you see, both of you, do you see a shift? Are you hopeful of a shift from the power kind of leadership to a service kind of leadership? And even as you give us your social media handles.
Okay. Yes, as we come to a closing point, I want to really state out that it's high time that young people realize that we are no longer interested with the power, with recycling politicians. We are no longer interested with the politicians with selfish interests. What we are interested is public service. You know, person who advocates for what people need. I'm open to a discussion whereby we again show young people. They tell us what they really want us to do. Is it education? How can we improve that? Is it issues to do with healthcare? How can we do about it? Issues of roads and all that. So I want to advocate, and I want to ask our leaders, not only the MPs, the senators, the governors, and even our president. I want to ask him that to shift away from, politics that does not benefit the common man. We need real service, what they promised us. You remember that it has been barely 2 years since we voted. I think 2 years plus, more than, 2 years and a half. So we realized that most of the things that they were promised during those campaigns, they have not been achieved. So I'm really urging all these leaders, let us use this time, as we remember that in 1 year and something, we'll be going back to elections. And when we go back there, we need to at least try and see what you did when you were in power or when you are in service. So I want to promise the people of Yatta that come 2027, I'm going to be taking part in the election, and I really urge you, please, to support me as we really look for, as we redefine true leadership based on public service, not issues of politics and all that. So thank you so much. I really appreciate for having me.
You're most welcome. Your social media handles, do you want to share?
Yes, my social media handles is Anthony Musyoki in TikTok, in Facebook, in X, and even in Instagram. Please
Alright.
follow me and support me, guys.
Okay, Anthony Musyoki on all social media handles. That's where you can get him. And thank you very much, Anthony, for your input in this particular conversation. I wish you the best come 2027.
Thank you.
All the best. To you, Shallet, what would be your closing remarks?
Yo, I have so many things, but let me try and summarize it. Is that number one, as I'm looking to this camera, is that I pray that this country, as we have said, we're 85% Christian, that we truly fear the Lord and actually live to what he has called us to do, right? The Bible tells us that he will change our hearts from stone to flesh. So that means, will I feel for my neighbor here? Will I be able to have compassion? Will I be able to have the unconditional love that Christ has called us to have? And to our leaders, just to summarize this, if God has called you to a position of leadership, take that seriously. It's not a joke. It's not something to be played with. It's not about playing with the lives or what we have been conditioned to understand that, wacha mimi niingia hapa pesa nilitumia campaign itakuja niipate hapa in this particular position. I also want to tell you that ole wako, because it is high time that people actually munafaa kuogopa, by the way. You're supposed to fear as Anthony said last year, some MPs didn't even come home. And I pray that you may have the fear of the Lord so that you may actually love the people that have elected you. Because it is not something just a joke to have leaders. And Kenya has so much potential. Kenya has so much potential. If we are not on the tribal lines or whatever things that we are, and the shenanigans that this country sometimes throws, we have so much potential as a country. So my closing remarks is, fear the Lord, have reverence for the Lord, and that will change the entire perspective for this nation, both for our leaders and even both for us as Kenyans. And get informed. That's just the only thing. Try and get informed. Just don't doom scroll on your phone. Get informed. Google, search, ChatGPT, do all of those things. But get informed. Stay ready.
All right. Yeah. Awesome. Where can people get you?
Oh, yeah. Shallet Equipment everywhere, and our Big Talk, which is Big Talk, every single position where if you want to get informed about the social, political, and economic stuff in a much more simpler and funner way, please follow the Big Talk. But my personal is Shallet Equipment everywhere.
All right. Awesome. Thank you very much, Shallet, for your input as well. You have spoken like a true Gen Z, passionate about leadership and God at the same time. Yeah. So we do appreciate both of you. We hope to continue this conversation even on a different day, because we need to keep the conversation going, because the future is us. We are in the future already. We are the young people, and we decide where we want to go. So I have had Anthony Musyoki, who's an aspiring MP, Yata constituency, and Shallet Kibe, the founder of Big Talk. Right about now, we're going to take a short break, and then we'll continue with another conversation. So stay right here with us. See you on the other side.